Judge insults Caroline Levit in open court. Minutes later, she has him in handcuffs. You won't believe what just went down. Caroline Levit was no stranger to pressure. For years, she had battled in the legal trenches, taking on some of the most high-profile and complex cases in the country. But today was different. As she stepped into Judge Howard Gates' courtroom, a man infamous for his razor-sharp tongue and no-nonsense rulings, she could already feel the weight of what was about to unfold. This wasn't just another hearing. No, this was a powder keg waiting to explode. The case? A high-stakes government ethics violation that had the power to dismantle careers, break political alliances, and send shockwaves through the state. The defendant? A wealthy developer with deep political ties, accused of siphoning off state funds for his personal empire. The evidence? Overwhelming. And Levit had spent weeks preparing her case. But nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared her for the hostility waiting inside Judge Gates' courtroom. As she approached the plaintiff's table, the air was thick with tension. Judge Gates? He didn't even look at her. Instead, he casually flipped through a file, dragging out each movement as if to make a statement. His disdain was clear. The courtroom sat in suffocating silence, not just procedural, but intentional, designed to intimidate. Then, finally, he broke the silence. Miss Levit, he drawled, his voice dripping with sarcasm. I assume you actually prepared something worth listening to today? Or should we skip ahead to the part where you waste my time? A few muffled chuckles rippled through the room, mostly from the defendant's legal team, their smirks barely concealed. But Levit? She didn't flinch. She had faced worse. What she didn't know yet was that this was only the beginning, and soon, the tables were about to turn in a way no one saw coming. She straightened, her voice calm but firm. Your Honor, the evidence will speak for itself. This case involves the misuse of taxpayer dollars, and my job is to ensure the facts are presented accurately. Judge Gates leaned back, feigning boredom. Taxpayer dollars? Oh, please. Like that hasn't been the foundation of every frivolous case before. Levit's jaw tightened, but her tone remained steady. With all due respect, Your Honor, I would hardly call felony corruption charges frivolous. For a brief moment, their eyes locked. His cold and calculating, hers unyielding. But before she could continue, he cut her off again. Miss Levit, spare me the lectures. Just get to the point. I don't have all day to entertain whatever grandstanding you've got planned. A murmur rippled through the gallery. The room wasn't packed, but those present were alert. They sensed something was off. Judges could be tough, sure, but this felt personal. Caroline inhaled slowly, recalibrating. She knew what was happening. Gates was trying to throw her off balance, to control the tempo, to put her on the defensive. But she wasn't about to let that happen. She picked up a folder, flipping it open with deliberate precision. Your Honor, I'd like to direct the court's attention to Exhibit A. These financial records clearly demonstrate. Miss Levit, Gates interrupted, voice dripping with sarcasm. Do you always insist on drowning people in paperwork, or is this just your way of compensating? The shift in the room was instant. A few reporters exchanged glances. The defense attorney smirked. But Levit? She didn't react. She had learned long ago. Men like Gates thrived on intimidation. And the only way to beat them? Never let them see you rattled. She paused just long enough to make a statement without saying a word, then continued, her voice steady, unyielding. She set the folder down. Your Honor, if you prefer to make this personal, I'd be happy to request a recess to address any professional concerns you might have. It was subtle, not aggressive, not disrespectful, but pointed. A clear warning. She wasn't about to roll over. For a second, something flickered across his face. Amusement? Annoyance? It was hard to tell. But he wasn't done yet. Oh, I don't have concerns, Miss Levit, he smirked. I just know a weak case when I see one. This time, the reaction wasn't just murmurs. Gasps echoed through the room. Did a judge really just say that? Levit held his gaze. Then, with slow, deliberate precision, she adjusted her blazer, straightened her papers, and looked him dead in the eye. "I suppose we should let the evidence do the talking." And that's when she saw it, something deeper than arrogance. Something darker. Judge Gates had a stake in this case. The question was, what was he hiding? She pressed on, her voice firm. "Your Honor, these documents show clear discrepancies. The defendant's company received nearly triple the approved budget, and none of it was accounted for in state records." Gates scoffed, leaning back. "And yet, I failed to see anything justifying wasting this court's time." There it was again. Wasting time. He was trying to bury this case before it even got off the ground. Then it happened. Levitt flipped to the next page. "Your Honor, I'd like to submit a motion to..." "Denied." The words cut through the air like a knife. She looked up, her expression hardening. "I haven't even stated the motion yet." Gates leaned forward, elbows on the bench. "And yet, I can already tell you, it's going nowhere." A pause. Too long. Too calculated. And then she saw it. The defense attorney's smirk. The silent agreement between him and the judge. That was all she needed. Levitt exhaled slowly. "Your Honor, are you refusing to hear my motion, before even listening to its contents?" The courtroom shifted. Reporters scribbled. Jurors exchanged glances. People were paying attention now. Gates' jaw tensed. "I'm refusing to indulge the circus act any longer." And that's when she made her move. With absolute control, she reached into her bag, pulled out a recorder, and pressed play. A voice filled the courtroom. Gravelly. Gruff. Unmistakable. "Take care of it. I don't care how." The audio crackled. "Then, make sure she never gets her hands on those ledgers." Silence. Thick. Suffocating. Judge Gates didn't move. Didn't breathe. Because now, every single person in that courtroom had heard it. And the real game was just beginning. Before Judge Gates could muster another outburst, a different voice cut through the suffocating silence. "Your Honor," a firm voice called out. It was the district attorney, standing now, his face unreadable. "Given the severity of this evidence and the clear conflict of interest, I move for an immediate recess and the recusal of Judge Gates from this case." The words landed like a gavel striking solid wood. A murmur rippled through the gallery. Gates clenched his jaw. "This is absurd," he growled, but his voice lacked the same authority as before. Caroline didn't blink. She didn't need to say anything. The evidence had spoken for itself. The bailiff, Officer Reynolds, took a measured step forward. "Judge Gates," he said, voice steady. "Under the authority of the state judiciary, and in light of the evidence presented, I'm going to have to ask you to step down from the bench." A beat. A single, charged moment where everything hung in the balance. Then metallic clicks. Handcuffs. The courtroom gasped. Gates stiffened, his face flushing deep red. "You have no right." "Actually, we do," the DA interjected. "As of this moment, you're under investigation for judicial misconduct, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy." Caroline exhaled slowly, watching as the once feared judge was led from his own courtroom, his fall from grace as swift as his arrogance had been blinding. As the doors swung shut behind him, she turned back to the stunned defense attorney, now looking far less sure of himself.